Hey, welcome to Wednesday's Words of Worship. I'm Kevin. During our traditional service on Sunday, we sang the very familiar hymn written by Horatio Spafford, "It is Well with My Soul." Now, the first verse says, "When peace like a river attendeth my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot thou hast taught me to say, it is well with my soul." Now, I really love that hymn because the words are so full of emotion and conviction. But just in case that words kind of seem a bit strange to you in our current vernacular, I believe that Spafford is trying to convey the idea that sometimes our sorrows, our trials, our troubles come crashing upon us like the weight of the crashing waves during a storm. But in spite of any troubles or trials that come our way, God's faithfulness has taught us that we can still experience God's peace flowing to and through us. Horatio Spafford experienced many tragedies in his life. Among them were the loss of his business, the loss of his material possessions, financial ruin, and the tragic loss of his 3 daughters in a shipwreck. Spafford certainly understood hardship and tragedy. Now for us, we always consider it good news when God brings relief to us from a trial or an illness, and when we bring healing or maybe restoration. The message of the song, "It is Well with My Soul," is that we can experience God's peace even while we were in the middle of unpleasant or horrible circumstances. Nobody likes to experience difficulty in their lives, and it requires maturity, surrender, and practice to be able to declare that it is well when life is really a big mess. Now, there's a passage in Isaiah that talks about a river and waves of the sea, and it's found in Isaiah chapter 48. Chapter 48 of Isaiah, God is about to redeem the Israelites and bring them out of the Babylonian captivity and exile. Now, most of the chapter recalls God's power, his might, and what he's done in the past, and what he's going to do in the future. But what I find very interesting, chapter 48, is God also reminds the people that their exile, their captivity, is due to their own rebellion against God and not following his teaching and his commands. In verse 18, God tells the Israelites, "If you would pay attention to my commands, your well-being would be like a river, and your righteousness like the waves of the sea." God is talking to his people like parents often talk to their children. "If you would have listened to me, this wouldn't have happened." Now, most of us understand that our actions and our choices have consequences. Some are good, some are bad. There's also times in our lives when bad things happen that are in no way within our control, like the trials of Horatio Spafford. Now, those are times when we need to rely on our faith in God. Life is full of difficulties, tragedies, struggles, and even disappointments that sometimes that are not even the result of any choices or actions that we've made. So let's strive to do 2 things. First, choose to be faithful to God's commands so he doesn't have to correct us like he did with the Israelites. And 2, recall God's faithfulness to you in your past so that when difficulties happen, we can honestly say that it is well with my soul. Hey, thanks for listening, and I hope to see you again next week.